This following video contains content that some viewers may find emotionally distressing. Our in-the-moment interviews aim to shed light on difficult topics of all kinds, so please read the description of the video before viewing to ensure you will be comfortable watching the subject matter. If you feel overwhelmed at any point, please take care of yourself and consider seeking support from a trusted person or professional resource.
It was very quick. She was diagnosed with cancer. 5 weeks later, she passed, so that was very sudden. You know, I was jealous of people with mums. I was jealous of people who could go home and have a lovely life. Yes, it taints your whole life, even now.
Would you introduce yourself to the camera?
My name's Meg and I'm a Bespoke Mentor. I've worked for the company for just over a year now, and I'm a unique pathways manager.
Everyone has been or will go through loss in some way or another, but today is about you. So what's your story?
My mum passed away when I was 12. It was very quick. She was diagnosed with cancer. 5 weeks later, she passed. So that was very sudden. And I think when you're 12, you haven't really got a grasp of time. So those 5 weeks were nothing. I don't even remember what I did with her in those 5 weeks. I just remember it was very quick. And my whole life fell apart around me in those 5 weeks. Yeah.
What was she diagnosed originally? Was there a kind of time frame that she was given, or?
Yeah, so she was given 12 months. All I remember was how quickly her decline was. You know, I can remember her telling us that she had cancer, and we all went for a family walk around Mallard's Pike, and that was the last happy memory I have. And then it was all medication, morphine, her hallucinating, and then death. So it was very, very quick, and those 5 weeks were not happy weeks at all.
So how do you feel that the loss has affected your life? And, you know, with that affecting you, have you made any choices that have either moved you forwards or moved you back? Is there anything that's kind of happened since that's changed you for the better or worse?
Well, I mean, it's put a whole cloud on my whole life of grief that you're never, ever going to budge. Everything you do in life is tainted by, I've lost my mum. Every aspect, to shopping, I wish I could do it with my mum, to education. She was a teacher, I wish she could help me through that. Motherhood, I don't have a mum. To help with my children. Yes, it taints your whole life, even now.
You felt like you were missing your mum in certain areas of your life, and especially since you coming into motherhood.
Yeah, because I guess a mum is meant to be your teacher in life, or any parent for that matter. But for me, it was my mum, and she was the one who gave us love and gave us those life lessons. You know, my dad was always at work, fair enough. He was the provider, and she was the one who gave us all, you know, the love and affection that we needed as children. And that was just completely ripped away. So going from having a mum there to not, at first, actually, to say it didn't bother me is not correct, but I didn't let it bother me because I didn't miss her. I didn't miss her yet. So I could remember I was taken into a room at school and I was told to punch teddies, and that was my counselling. And I can remember thinking, what on earth am I doing here? I wasn't angry, I was sad. Didn't want to punch anything. I was only 12. I'd never been exposed to physical violence, having to use my fists. And from that point probably is where I rebelled, actually, in school. And a lot of people offered help, but I knew they didn't understand, and I knew they had this lovely shining life, and which I was really jealous of. You know, I was jealous of people with mums. I was jealous of people who could go home and have a lovely life. All I really needed was somebody to sit me down and say, right, I've been there, I've done this, and I know how you're feeling. And at that point there was nobody around to do that. So that is why us as mentors, having such a story, it only helps us in what we do. And when we say we know, we do know about struggles, and we face them ourselves every day. School was easy for me, but I just didn't like it. I can remember coming home from school, lying on my bed, and I could remember feeling physical heartbreak, like I could feel my heart break. And I never forget that. And I think that is when I first ever felt depression. It was a couple of years after. And that was when I realised, okay, you are going through life now without a mum, and kind of deal with it. I didn't deal with it the right way at all. I was very rebellious. I was vile to my dad. I was vile to everybody. There was some people in my life who could understand why. A lot of women in my life, particularly my godmothers, were there for me because they had the mothering instinct. They were there to nurture me, and they did. And I'll be forever grateful for those other women in my life. But I'm very aware that some people don't have those other women in their life. So that is a big reason as to why I'm a mentor, because I am now aware that lots of people don't have people in their life to turn to, and I would like to be one of those people to help.
So do you feel that your loss has led you to almost care for others in the way that you were cared for yourself? Or
yeah, because even though, you know, I had a physical home to live in, I had a family, it doesn't mean that that was my support. I had a home, but I didn't want to live in that home. I had family. I didn't want to be in that family because at the time all I wanted was my mum, and she wasn't there. But yeah, it has made me want to help people who are in the same position, and who can take, there is that choice, isn't there, of, right, we can overcome this, or we can go down a rather slippery slope. I've done the slippery slope. I've done the drinking all weekends. I've done the staying up for weekends, doing drugs, doing things I shouldn't have done. And it didn't work out. And thank God I woke up and realised that you can't do that, and it's not a way to live. So I think I've come up the other side, thank God, and I want to be a part of people's journeys to make them realise that sometimes slippery slopes, or what you think you're doing is the right thing, it sometimes probably isn't the right thing to be doing. Just to be someone's guidance and support is what I want to do, really.
so you've kind of half answered it already, but I mean, with obviously this great misfortune has come to you, do you feel it has brought any positives at all? Do you feel it's changed you in any way for the better? Do you think it's changed you as a person?
Oh yes, I mean, I wouldn't be the person I am today if I didn't lose my mum. I would have lived a very sheltered life. because of how loving she was. And I have always thought things happen for a reason. And I always used to think, you know, that can't be true, because she was one of the nicest people I've ever met, and so everybody's told me. But maybe it has happened for a reason, so that I can help other young people in the same position. Yeah, to be their support and to be there for them. That I could be that person that you can say anything you want to say to me, kick and scream, shout, show me all the worst behaviours in the world, and I've probably been there, done it, got the t-shirt, so I'm not going to go anywhere. I wouldn't ditch anybody just because they've had a pop at me. I can see thought processes. So if someone's having a bad day, I can just sense it, and there's no pressure. There would be no pressure from me, and I understand your days change. You could wake up one day happy, the next day you could be in a pit, and I get it. And I would never run away from that or anybody in that situation.
Tell me a little bit more about your mum and your relationship with your mum.
I remember like our personal jokes, and that's something that no one can ever take. There's so much stupid. I can remember watching Nanny McPhee, and there was a saying, and they said there'll be snow in August before this happens, and every time I watched that film, she would look at me and we would smile, and now I have these little jokes with my own son, and it is so lovely to know that I'm making these memories with him. And every time I do, she comes into my thoughts, and then I think, all right, I'm doing an okay job here, because that's what makes me smile. I can just remember thinking she was the most amazing person in the world. Yeah. And she was. We were told by so many people.
No, sorry.
Do you feel what you've been through has made you better at what you do? Do you feel it's given you more to help?
Yeah, but I don't think I could do it otherwise, because I would have lived such a sheltered life. I would never have been exposed probably to all the different things I see in these young people's lives. I had to go through something to make me be able to do this job and to relate to these young people. No, they're not just young, any age. You've got to go through something to be able to relate to them and to see them for what they're going through on that day at that time. So yeah, definitely, I couldn't be in this job without the passing of my mum, which, job or mum, but I love my job, and I think I'm where I'm meant to be. Coincidentally, my first mentee, straight in the deep end, I had to go and do a home visit on my own, and I couldn't actually believe what I'd walked into. I couldn't believe I was meeting a girl who was in such a dark place in her life, and that I had already been through it. And to me, it was almost fate, like I was in the right job.
Final question after all of this is, and what you've been through, how would you define yourself?
I always used to think everything I was doing, I was failing at all the time, and I could always be better, and I hadn't reached my full potential. But do you know what? Since being with Bespoke, I've noticed that even the little list of milestones are massive, and to see people accomplish and achieve these little milestones puts your life into perspective against what I've done. And I'm actually really proud of myself, because I could have gone down a really slippery slope. And I'm not perfect. I still have my days where I don't want to get up. I don't want to go to work. Sometimes I think almost, why should I? Because I've got my own problems, but I get out of bed for these people. So it has made me empathetic. I can really feel people's pain and what they're going through, and that makes me motivated to help them and to change their mindset and to change their way of life. So living this unprotected life has really helped me understand others. Yeah.